We are in chapter 13.
It's here.
Okay, we're right. I'm right there.
Good.
And we were learning about the story of the angel that came to Manoach's wife about the fact that they will have a child. And the angel told Manoach's wife that there are a number of important rules that she should be aware of and how she should conduct herself with regard to the fact that her son is going to be a Nazir, a Nazarite. And of course, she's all excited that she's going to have a child because she was unable to have children. And the angel tells her that you have to be careful from drinking wine and being careful not to cut his hair, and because he is going to be a Nazir from birth or from the womb. And he's also going to save the Jewish people from the hands of the Plishtim. And so the angel is telling her that she also has to be careful of these things. Now, it also says she shouldn't eat anything tameh. Don't eat anything contaminated. And the one of the commentaries says what that means is that she should act in a holier way than the norm, which is Kohanim, the priests. They had certain laws of purity that they wanted to always stay pure so that they would be able to serve in the temple. Excuse me, the reason why they wanted to stay pure, of course, was because they're not allowed to contaminate themselves. But in addition to that, they had certain foods that they were only allowed to eat while they were pure, and also to serve in the temple and so on. So there were numerous reasons why Kohanim had to be careful they had to be always on top of staying pure, and other Jews that were not Kohanim, were not priests, they didn't have to follow all of these rules of always staying pure. But it says certain righteous people would always eat chulin b'tahara. They would always eat regular food only in purity. They made sure not to eat anything that was contaminated. And actually, that's why one of the reasons in the story of Abraham and his guests, he asked his wife to bake bread, and maharu shalosh se'im kemach soilas, where Abraham tells Sarah to bake bread for the guests, and she doesn't. Why didn't she bake bread? Because Abraham and Sarah were careful never to eat contaminated food, and she had just become, her menstruation had just returned, even though she was an older lady. But she became a nida, she became impure, and if she would have baked bread at that stage, it would have been impure, and therefore she didn't bake the bread, because Abraham was careful, extra careful, so to speak, to have only pure bread, even though according to Jewish law, if you're not a Kohen, you don't have to be careful. Now, nowadays, this totally doesn't apply. There's no such thing of, eating b'tahara, eating things with purity, because the whole world is impure, and it's impossible to stay pure. But the law in the days when we had people eating truma, when people would eat produce that was separated for the Kohen, when you had Kohanim, so that's when you would see these laws in full effect, because the Kohanim had to be extra careful So everyone was sort of like on the lookout, always making sure that things were pure for the Kohanim. People were aware of it. They were sensitive to it. Nowadays, we don't even, it's hard to relate to. What does that mean? Someone was impure. They touched this thing, and that becomes impure. So you go to a cemetery, you become impure, and then you can touch other things. You can touch food, and that food will become impure, and so on. But we don't have the purification, the ability to purify ourselves from with the red heifer, the paraduma, and so on. So these laws are not applicable, but that's what it says, that she shouldn't eat anything tameh. Now, the rabbis translate it just to mean that she's not allowed to eat things that are impure to it, that are not allowed for a nazir. But there is an explanation here that it means anything that's impure she shouldn't eat. Now, this is also a special law that what we see is that anyone that wants to influence their children, they've got to make sure to do it themselves. And here she's being told that, her son is going to be a Nazir, but she's got to be careful now. We can understand it as a law, but it's also a message. To understand it as a law, her son is in her womb, and anything that happens to her is happening to him. But the idea that she has to be careful about things for him is a message that don't expect your children to be better than you are. If you want them to be a certain level, then you have to also follow the same level of ethics and morality and righteousness and holiness, spirituality, and so on. And it's not enough just to send them to a good school and think that they're going to pick it up in school. And when they come home, they'll see you, you expect your child never to get angry, but you have a major anger issue, and it's not going to work. And even though you send your son to the therapist and the psychiatrist or psychologist and life coach, and you think that's going to have be the answer to all problems. The problem is that they come home, they see it in their parents differently. So it's in order for I think it's a message here about education, that she had to be careful so that her son will learn from this how to be. It'll have an effect, an impact on her son if she's careful. Now, the truth is, it's not a perfect proof, because she didn't have to keep these things after her son was born. She's only keeping it now. But I think the message is still a message. Now, the story was that Manoach, the husband, did not actually see the angel. And Manoach was hoping that he would, so he prayed that the angel should come back, and he should be able to hear straight from the angel, who he thought was just a prophet. They didn't know that this was a real angel of Hashem. They thought it was a prophet. And he wanted the prophet to come back, so he davened. And sure enough, the angel came back to his wife. And why did the angel come back to his wife in the field? So the simple answer is his wife either deserved to see the angel more than he did. Maybe his wife was more righteous than him, or because she would recognize him. So therefore, he came back to her, and she ran to get Manoach, her husband. And he came and he said, and I think this is where we are up to, verse 12 or 11. Manoach arose and went after his wife. He came to the man and said to him, "Are you the man who spoke to the woman?" And he said, "I am." Manoach said, verse 12, we're in chapter 13, verse 12. Manoach said, "Now may your words come true. What should be the conduct of the lad and his behavior?" And the angel of God said to Manoach, "Of everything that I spoke to the woman, she should beware." Knows everything that she told you. Of anything that comes from the grapevine, she shall not eat. Wine or aged wine, she shall not drink. Anything contaminated, she shall not eat. Everything that I commanded her, she shall observe. So the Medrash brings an interesting point that the angel made sure not to tell him that his wife is unable to have children, and this is a great miracle that they're going to have a child, even though the angel earlier on had told her, he told the wife, he said, behold, you are akara, you are barren, and you have not had given birth, but you will now get pregnant and give birth. But he doesn't tell that to Manoach. He skips that. He said, what I told your wife, and you should be careful. You know, the laws of the grapevine.
Rabbi,
Yes.
did he not believe his wife? I mean, when she said, this angel said this to me, so why did he need to back it up? Isn't his wife telling him enough? I mean, that's like he doesn't believe her.
So the commentaries don't say that he didn't believe her. The understanding is that he was concerned that maybe she missed something. You have to understand that this is not the norm. Such a number one, to be a Nazir is a very uncommon thing. Number two, this type of Nazir is unheard of. He's going to be allowed to contaminate himself to dead, to the dead. He's just not allowed to drink. There are certain differences between this Nazir and the regular Nazir. She's not allowed to eat certain foods before she even gave birth. So it's a very strange laws. And he's nervous that maybe she didn't catch on to everything. How could she? This is, it's not like it's in an email where she can reread it afterwards. So it's a, he simply wanted to hear it straight from the prophet. He wanted to know how the prophet said it. We like to hear it exactly the way it's being said. So Manoach was hoping for the angel, was hoping that he could actually hear it verbatim. And so that's the story of Manoach requesting it, and he was given. Hashem listened to his prayer, and he sent this angel again. Yes, Yehuda.
Yeah, I don't understand. How can somebody, I understand how a person can take on the being a Nazir himself, but how can someone take it on for him? You understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Yehuda's asking. You can't prohibit. How about if I prohibit you from having chocolate cake, or no more coffee? I'll make that'd be, you go prohibit someone else from make them no wine or alcohol for you people. That would be a crazy thing. You can't take away start making rules on other people. But the answer is that this is not the law of a neder, of a vow. This is not a case of a vow that someone makes a vow that they're going to be prohibited from a certain item of eating or benefiting. This is not a law of a vow. This is a direct law from Hashem. So it's not like an angel makes a vow for you not to be able to do something. This is a directive from Hashem that you have a special mission in this world, and you are going to be obligated to keep this, in order for you to fulfill your mission, you need to follow these rules. So that's the answer. It's not a vow. If it would be a vow, that would be a big problem. You can't make a vow for someone else. You can make a vow that someone can't benefit from you, but you can't make a vow about them in their own life. You know what I mean? You can prohibit someone from benefiting from you.
Right.
But you can't prohibit someone from benefiting from whoever else they want to benefit from, That's,
No, I
that's
understand
their
that.
life. Yeah. So that's the answer. That's the difference. It's not a vow type of case.
Yeah,
Yes.
no,
I'm sorry.
but
There's another reason.
Say that again, Yehuda.
the idea of being a Nazarite,
Is all based on a vow. That's a good question. It's all based on a vow. Normally, a Nazir is a vow. You have to make a vow to be a Nazir. But this is not
For her,
that.
it's a
This is not that. This is not that type of a case. This is a case where he has a special mission given from Hashem. So it's not the typical law of Nazir. It doesn't fit in the full category of Nazir. It's a special directive that Shimshon got. Yes, Miranda.
Well, as we know, a baby is very affected by what's going on in the womb when they're developing, outside of them and inside of them. And so this just seems to be the rational reason why she was
Right.
told to do that lifestyle.
Right, for sure. Yes, Ben. Ben.
I wanted to say that it seems to be at the level of a bris. You don't have any say in it. It's decided for you.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Hashem wants you to be a Nazir, but because it's forced on you, he put less restrictions on him than he put on the mother. I think the mother has more restrictions, Tuma and other restrictions that the mother will have, but he does not have. Am I right? I hope you heard me.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. In other words, the tumah here is not, it's not about contaminating oneself. Well,
Maybe it is.
I'm not sure. That's a good question. In other words, is the mother really, according to the Metzudas David, that says that she's not allowed to eat chulin, that she's not allowed to eat chulin that's tameh, anything that's tameh. So would that mean that she's also not allowed to become tameh? Would that mean that she's different than Shimshon?
She's
In other words, the Talmudic understanding, I'm sorry? The Talmudic
she's more
understanding.
restricted. And that's why later Shimshon is using the jaw from a donkey, which is dead meat or dead something, to beat the Philistines, in one of his fights. Because he can touch a dead animal, she cannot.
It doesn't say that. It's not clear. I have to look it up. I'm not sure. It's a good question you're asking. It's an interesting thought. The thing that comes to mind when you say that, and I'm not sure if it's correct, but if it is correct, the thing that comes to mind is that you have to be more careful with a baby than after someone grows up. Like the most delicate time is when the child is is so tiny. So here she has to be maybe even more careful than he himself, because when she has this baby in her womb, every little any tiny blemish would have a major impact when it grows. It's almost like a tree. If there's something tiny wrong with the seed, the whole tree will be deformed. If someone grows up and their fingernail grows inside, so they have a little ingrown toenail, but their whole, at least they're not, deformed. If something is messed up at the beginning stages, that could have a major impact. So that's just a thought, but I'm not really sure. I have to look it up. It's again, this is not following the Talmudic translation. The Talmudic translation says she was not prohibited from things that are tamei. She was prohibited. It translates it just to mean that she's prohibited from things that are not allowed for a nazir, like eating grapes and other things that are, anything that's from the grapevine. And so it doesn't really refer to tumah. So anyway, but it would be interesting to look that up, how the Matzudas David would learn. Okay, so in any event,
Question.
the truth is the Radak I see also mentions, I see, the truth is I see that the Radak mentions here that she is prohibited from tumah, from touching any tamei, and but then he gives another explanation that it means it means the Talmudic explanation. So he gives both also. So according to them, now the only thing is
one explanation.
There is another view that says that maybe Shimshon was also prohibited in tumah. So that might follow that view that, again, they're both in the same league, that they're both really not supposed to be tamei. Now, we're going to continue.
Rabbi, it's
Yes.
Moshe.
Moshe, hi.
Ben's question leads me to want to ask a question also about, I mean, if he picked up a novella, the jaw of an ox or what it was, I mean, you would,
A donkey.
a donkey or whatever, you would think that he's making himself tuma, as a result of this, if he, I mean, that's quite obvious. It's questionable how much flesh was on the bone when he picked it up too. Whether it was decomposing. I mean, if it's a minuval, I mean, if it's a rotting animal, there is a machlokas here, isn't there? I mean.
I'll be honest with you. The laws of animals and dead animals and so on, it's a little confusing, and I have to look it up exactly. It's not commonly, it's not commonly studied. It's quite complex. Like what, if there might be, any exceptions, how, with regard to tumah of animals. So let's put that on the back burner. And when we get up to the story of Shimshon, where he does touch the, he rips apart a lion, and let's leave it for when we deal with that, and we'll look into it, how if there's room for other commentaries to to explain it, that he did not make himself impure. Now, again, we'll have to deal with the fact that he did kill many of the Plishtim, and how did he kill them in a way that he, maybe he did it in a way that he he wasn't impure. Maybe he did it wrong. We'll have to see. But in the meantime, there are different opinions here, and I'm not limiting our study to one opinion. There is a pathway of learning that he was allowed to be impure, and there seems to be another view here that he was supposed to keep the laws of impurity similar to his mother. So thank you, Ben, for bringing it up. It's something that we will keep, we'll keep it in the in our mind. Now
we'll get back to it.
Yeah, Metz Hashem. And you're welcome to look into it. So the next,
Okay.
the story that we're up to is that the angel was telling Manoach about, about being careful about all these things. And Manoach said to the angel of Hashem, please let us detain you. We shall prepare a goat kid for you. So Manoach wants to either give him something to eat or bring a sacrifice. And so the angel of Hashem, we're in verse 16, again, chapter 13, verse 16. The angel of Hashem said to Manoach, if you detain me, I shall not eat of your food. If you wish to prepare an elevation offering, offer it up to Hashem. For Manoach did not know that he was an angel of Hashem. So the angel is not sure what Manoach wants. Does he want him to eat it? He says, I don't eat. I am I shall not eat of your food. If you want to prepare an elevation offering, offer it up to Hashem. And Manoach did not know that he was an angel. And now we're up to verse 17. Oh, I was in the middle of mentioning that the angel did not tell Manoach that it's the reason why he doesn't have children is because of his wife. Because the angel did not want to cause any issue between the husband and wife. Great is peace, the Medrash says, and it says, therefore, even though the angel told his wife that she is not able to have kids, but now she's going to miraculously have a child, the angel did not tell that to her husband. This way it was left vague. Is it her husband's fault that they can't have a child? Or is it the wife's fault? That, in other words, that it shouldn't be clear. And this way there's peace between the husband and wife. Neither of them know whose fault it really is. Verse 17 says, Manoach said to the angel of Hashem, what is your name? So that when your word comes about, we may honor you. And which is an interesting expression that he wants to honor the prophet when his prophecy is fulfilled. So one of the commentaries mentions that once a prophet's prophecy is fulfilled, then you know he's a real prophet. So according to that, there's a way of testing a prophet to see if he's 100%, if he's real, if he's correct, if he's a fraud, or if he's true, if he's sincere, a real prophet, a kosher prophet. And so one of the commentaries on mentions based on Maimonides, where he says that if you test him and his prophecy comes true, which is based on Psukim in the Chumash, then you know that he's a real prophet. It's a Navi Emes. So he says this is maybe what Manoach was saying, that when it comes true, then we will be able to, we will have proof that you are a Navi Emes. We have to keep in mind that there were many false prophets in those days, and therefore Manoach mentioned this. He wants to honor him. The Rashi says a different explanation. Rashi says we will do what you command us. we will do if this comes true. So if anything, if you need anything from us, we will follow it. We will honor you by following it. The next verse mentions the angel of Hashem said to him, "Why is it that you ask for my name, Vuhu Peli?" And it is a wonder. It is hidden. And so Rashi says that it's similar to what he says on Chumash. He says the name of angels, our names change depending on what shlichus, what mission we're on. Our name changes based on the mission that we're sent on. And the verse continues, Manoach took the goat kid and the meal offering, brought them up on the rock to Hashem, and the angel performed a miracle as Manoach and his wife watched. So in the Hebrew, it's umafli lasos. He did a wonder. And there are numerous wonders that he did, the numerous miracles that he did. Number one is he brought the fire. He brought the fire from a rock. And the fire consumed. It happened that as the flame rose up from the top of the altar to the heavens, the angel of Hashem went up in the flame of the altar. So what we see here is, number one, it consumed the sacrifice. So he made the fire, it consumed the sacrifice, and then the angel himself flew up with it, with the smoke and the flame. It flew up with the flame. Manoach and his wife were watching, and they fell upon their faces to the ground. So this is numerous miracles that this angel did. And what they realized was that this is truly an angel. This is not just a prophet. Now, what's surprising here is that where is this in Jewish history? We're in a state where the Mishkan is in existence. There is a Mishkan in Shiloh. There is a tabernacle in Shiloh. And why are they bringing a sacrifice in Manoach's backyard? You're not allowed to sacrifice outside of the tabernacle. And the explanation is that this they understood to be a hiras shah. This is a temporary change from the rules that a prophet is allowed to command. That there are times, just like Elijah made a did a sacrifice in Har HaKarmel to prove the angels of the Baal wrong. He brought a sacrifice there. So this is also considered a Hiras Shah, that Manoach was told, if you want to bring it, what the angel say? If you wish to prepare an elevation offering, offer it up to Hashem in verse 16. So Manoach understood that this is a special moment where he's able to bring it. And sure enough, it obviously was, because, the flame came down from heaven, and the flame came down, swallowed up the sacrifice. Everything worked in a miraculous way. So, or I should say, the angel made the flame, miraculous flame, and it was consumed. So this is considered a Hiras Shah. Yes, Ben.
I want to say two things. First, he said his name is Miracle, and then he does the miracles. So it's the true name. But the other thing is, Manoach didn't do the miracle. The angel did. So he's allowed to do it. We are not allowed to do it outside the temple.
No, but by bringing the slaughtering it for Hashem, you're already sinning. The slaughtering itself is a sin. So you're saying that he didn't actually bring the fire, the angel brought the fire, but the slaughtering itself is a sin.
Right,
So that's the problem. He slaughtered it,
okay.
and he had in mind to burn it. Maybe, but the slaughtering itself is already part of the sin. And then to put it on
But the angel suggested it because he asked the angel to eat. The angel
Right.
says, no, let's do it for Hashem. And then the angel did it. As far as I'm concerned,
No, but who slaughtered it? Who slaughtered it for Hashem?
Manoach killed it. Yeah, he slaughtered it for the angel.
The thing is that
Okay. I thought he slaughtered it for the angel because he didn't care if the angel eats it or
right. It's an interesting thought you have. The only problem is that if he slaughtered it for the angel, I don't know if you would be allowed to bring it as a sacrifice, because it would have been ruined by having in mind a mundane thought. So it must be that he slaughtered it having in mind for the sacrifice, and this way it was actually considered like a sacrifice. It's an interesting thought. If you're sacrificing as a Hayras Shah, as a not the regular norm, do you need to have the right intentions? And I guess that would be boiled down to this question.
Eliyahu had the same right.
What is that?
Eliyahu did the same thing. Eliyahu did the same thing. So he slaughtered the animal too, right?
Yeah, but he slaughtered it having intention for
He
Hashem.
brought it for Hashem.
Anyway, it's an interesting thought.
All right.
Yes.
So let's see. He had intentions, but he was allowed to do it because the angel was involved.
Yeah, because the angel told him to. So he understood that to be a Hayras Shah, a momentary
Right.
command from Hashem that he's supposed to do this. In other words, just like the angel is telling them that their son has to keep the laws of Nazir, he's also telling them that they should bring a sacrifice right now, or they can bring a sacrifice right here and now. And so the angel said, I'm not going to eat it. So if you want to bring an elevation offering, and that's what he did. Manoach took it and brought them up on the rock to Hashem. No, I think the verse clearly says that Vayal al Hatzur la Hashem. So it seems like he clearly had in mind. So you definitely can't say that he that he had in mind that
He took the advice of the angel.
Yeah, you can't say that he had in mind for the angel to eat. It says clearly
He took
he
the
did it
advice of
for
the
Hashem.
angel.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. I said he took the advice of the angel, but he did it for Hashem. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying he definitely did it for Hashem and not for the angel to eat, because the verse says it clearly.
The angel advised him to do that.
What?
The angel advised him to do that. He said, why don't you bring it to Hashem?
Right. So, but
he
the
said,
question
okay,
is, then it's a problem. The only answer is Hayras Shah. In other words, you can't answer that he didn't really do it to Hashem outside of the Mishkan. You can't answer that he really did it for himself, because the verse pretty much is pretty clear. It says La Hashem, he did it for Hashem. But okay, so in any event, the verse that we're up to is 21, verse 21. The angel of Hashem no longer appeared to Manoach and his wife. Then Manoach realized that he was an angel of Hashem. Manoach said to his wife, we shall surely die, for we have seen a godly angel. So the angel no longer appeared, and Manoach realized this was an angel. Now, how did Manoach realize that this was an angel? So one way of understanding it is from the miracle. So it's going back on the verses earlier. From the miracles that happened, he realizes it's an angel. Another way that he realized it was an angel was the fact that he no longer saw the angel. The angel no longer appeared to Manoach, meaning he's not visible anymore. The fact that he disappeared like that and he's not here, that's, in other words, that's the continuation of the verse. So they realized this is an angel. And then he said, we're surely going to die because we have seen a godly angel. Now, it's interesting in the Chumash, it brings this story down. Rashi brings it down when it says that that Hagar, Abraham's wife, saw an angel and she had a whole conversation with the angel. She knew it was an angel and she had conversations with the angel. Here, Manoach is nervous because he saw the angel once and he's going to die. So Rashi explains that Hagar was used to seeing angels in Abraham's house. So she was familiar, it was no big deal. Here, Manoach never saw an angel before. And so this, to him, he thought he was going to die. So 23, his wife said to him, had Hashem wanted to put us to death, he would not have accepted from our hand an elevation offering and a meal offering, nor would he have shown us all this, nor would he let us hear such tidings at this time. So his wife clarified, made clear that they shouldn't be worried and everything's good. And Hashem is giving them this special gift. So verse 24 says, the woman gave birth to a son. By the way, I should mention, Ben, what you said, that Peli, that the angel's name you could translate as Peli. There is one commentary that translates it that way. All the other commentaries say that his name was hidden. It was hidden, so it's not known. But there is one commentary. The Malbim wants to say that his name was actually Peli, like you wanted to explain. Okay, so verse 24, the woman gave birth to a son. She called his name Samson, Shimshon. Now, what does the name Shimshon mean? Shimshon comes from the word Shemesh, sun. And Hashem is called Shemesh. Ki Shemesh umogein Hashem Elokim. That Hashem and Elokim are called the sun and the shield around the sun. The sun is so powerful, it needs a shield. The same thing as the name of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is so powerful, it needs a shield, and that's the name Elokim. Shemesh umogein Hashem Elokim. The sun and its shield is like Hashem and Elokim. And Shimshon is called because of Hashem. It means he has special spiritual powers. Yes, Ezra.
Why not say leshamesh to someone who is a servant?
So the Abarbanel learns that as well. The Abarbanel learns that, but this is a Gemara in Saita, which says that Shimshon, the Gemara says over there that Shimshon is Al Shem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, something along those lines. I don't remember the exact words, but Shimshon is but you're right. The Abarbanel learns, and that's another pshat. Very nice. Thank you, Ezra. That Shimshon is from the name Shamash, like we use on Hanukkah, Shamash. The Shamash serves the other candles to light all the other candles. So the Shamash of the shul is like the Gabbai, the person who helps in the shul. So the Shamash, a servant, it's the Shimshon was like to be a servant of Hashem, and that was his job, his mission was to be a servant of Hashem. So his mother named him Shimshon. The lad grew, and Hashem blessed him. Now the spirit of Hashem began to resound in him in the camp of Dan between Tzaira and Eshtaol. So the spirit of Hashem began to ring, it became it began to give him great strength, or that people saw in him great strength. Now, Rashi uses the word lepa'amai. Pa'amai has two meanings. Pa'amai could mean a bell started ringing in him. It also means sometimes. And the way Rashi translates it is that Hashem's spirit appeared occasionally to him, meaning that it's not that he was automatically, naturally strong. It was that whenever he needed strength, all of a sudden Hashem shot in him this huge energy that was beyond it was beyond any human power. It was infinite strength. He had tremendous strength, tremendous might. And so the word palm could mean seldom or ran every so often. So it happened to him every so often that he would get these like spurts of energy. Now, the other explanation is that it's l'pamai b'machan adon. It would ring. It rang in him. It started ringing in him this energy, this power, this strength of Hashem. The Gemara does mention this idea that it started ringing in him the prophecy of Jacob, that Jacob prophesied, Yehi Dan Nachash Ale Derech. Dan, the tribe of Dan, will be a snake along the way. And that's what Shimshon was. He was a tremendous, he was like a snake, a very powerful snake with a tremendous poison to the Plishtim. And this is the prophecy that started. So that's the idea of the palmine, the ringing of the prophecy. The prophecy began of Jacob, that it started ringing. And now comes chapter 14. Shimshon went down to Timnus, and in Timnus he saw a woman of the daughters of the Plishtim. So the first thing is that in the Chumash, it mentions that Timnus, Yehuda went up to Timnus. And here it says Shimshon went down to Timnus. So the question is Timnus a mountain or is Timnus a valley? If you go up to it, sounds like it's on the mountain. So how did Shimshon go down to Timnus? And it seems
maybe there's a bigger mountain.
What? Ben?
Maybe he came from a bigger mountain.
So there's two explanations. One is
he came down from a bigger mountain than Timnah.
Right. So that's correct. According to one explanation, he went from one side, you go up to it, and from the other side, you go down to it. Depends on where you're coming from. The other explanation is that Yehuda, it brought him to greatness when he admitted that that Tamar was pregnant from him. That brought him to greatness. Yehuda ato yiducha achecha. Yehuda, you caused your brothers to admit, and therefore, you deserve greatness. And Shimshon, this caused him, Timnus, in a certain sense, was a little downfall. And what this means is that Shimshon had a very delicate job. He had a very fragile job. And his job was to, on the one hand, get married to Plishtim women, and at the same time, bring safety to the Jewish people by fighting living among the Plishtim and fighting them. But at the same time, he had to be very careful not to become attracted to the Plishtim way of life and to lose his level of holiness. And so he's really he's walking on eggshells. He's really he's got a very delicate mission, because on the one hand he's hanging out with these Plishtim women. Now I have to say the Plishtim women, the commentaries say that he converted them. He did not marry Goyim, but at the same time it definitely did not look good on him. It looked very strange that he's going to hang out with the Plishtim and converting them and then marrying them. This is their great, this is their great leader, and yet he had this lust for the Plishtim women, who, even though they might have converted, but obviously they weren't in the same league as Jewish girls who had been brought up with purity all their life, and holiness, spirituality, and righteousness, and so on. And so Shimshon, the Gemara says that the problem Shimshon had was that he sinned with his eyes, that he fell in love with these Plishtim women, and he let that love like rule over him, instead of doing it, being careful to follow his mission fully. He fell into a lifestyle, like indulgence in the Plishtim women. So he sinned with his eyes, meaning that he sort of took it too far. And so it says Shimshon went down to Timnus, and in Timnus he saw a woman of the daughters of the Plishtim. And again, this was what his job was, really, to marry, to do this, but did he take it? The issue was that he went after his eyes. He went up and told his father and mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnus of the daughters of the Plishtim. Now take her for me as a wife. His father and mother said to him, is there no woman among the daughters of your brothers and all my people that you go to take a wife from the uncircumcised Plishtim? But Shimshon said to his father, take her for me, for she is fitting in my eyes. So he wasn't giving up. And in verse 4, it says his father and mother did not know that it was from Hashem. So this is what really adds a whole new dimension to this picture, is that don't think that this was just he fell in love with a non-Jewish girl, like many Jewish men fall, they end up, hanging out in the wrong circles, and they end up falling in love with a non-Jewish woman. And they think they'll be easier. They won't have any jappiness to them. But this was not. This was a case where his father and mother did not know that it was from Hashem. That means that this was from Hashem. It was from Hashem. The father and mother didn't know. For he was seeking a pretext against the Plishtim. And at that time, the Plishtim were ruling in Israel. So Hashem wanted him to, so to speak, fall in love, marry the Plishtim girl after she converted. But as I mentioned, he did go, he didn't keep to his mission fully. He didn't stay purely with his mission. And we're going to stop here. If anyone has any questions, you're